your use of outcome-based measurements, which I've always been appreciative of. And in the last year, we had a great deal of discussion because we actually had some numbers in front of us. We had a great deal of discussion about controllable costs you can control, most notably overtime. In that discussion, we had talked about how overtime had been reduced dramatically in the last several years. From 14-15, I think it was about 5% of your total cost, and it had been reduced beneath that in 16-17 to beneath 4%. And in your information you gave us, you also said you had some more savings this year. I was wondering what our projections are going forward. Have we reached our baseline? Do we know where we're at on that?
Yeah, so we're projecting a reduction of $90 million compared to our high water mark was about $105 million. But understand the high water mark, as you said, was 13-14 or 14-15?
14-15 by percent.
14-15 was the high water mark. So understand that $90 million is significally lower because of the contractual increases over that time. And we've really done that.
I understand. It's more than $90 million in savings because baseline costs have gone up, baseline salaries have gone up as well.
I don't think we've hit the low point yet. I think we still have some room to grow. One of the things, a couple big initiatives we've done is centralized hiring. And so we're doing a better job of managing the complement we have. We have less than 100 vacancies or less than 200 vacancies for correctional officers. It's an all-time low for us. So filling those positions, and understand, when we hire someone, they don't offset overtime until about 35 weeks when we can use them to do that with training and those kinds of things. We've also done a better job of managing it and overseeing it. It's something that's at the forefront. It's monitored at my level and every level by facility. So we're being more strategic. We do want to strike a balance. We don't want to eliminate overtime because you want overtime for unplanned things like an unplanned hospital trip. You don't want to have extra officers than you need on because that's expensive too. But I think we still have some room to go down as far as overtime.
So, and I think last year we saw in our budget where there was a $100 million reduction in a state correctional institution line item. Some of that is attributable to overtime. This year now we're seeing an increase in that line item of $70 million. So I'm not exactly sure where the increase is going, how much of it is employee cost. If we're continuing along the lines of saving dollars in overtime, which is one of the cost drivers you have the most control over, and your complement isn't changing, where's the extra dollars being allocated towards?
Yeah, it's just the rollover cost of 16,000 people with salary increases and pension contributions. It's total. The total rollover cost is about $200 million.
And excuse me for not knowing. Maybe I should know this, but is there one contract for all the way across, or is it different contracts for each?
We have, I believe, 8 or 9 bargaining units we deal with depending on the job.
And what is an average increase this year anticipated in labor contracts?
About 2.5%. About 5% when you look at both the increase and longevity increases.
Okay, because I think the cost increase on the line is what, 3.3%, I believe. So at least that does work in that regard. As far as complement, your complement, your total authorized is the same number as last year. Last year, you had pretty much all of it filled, 13,640 out of 13,729. Are you anticipating filling the whole complement this year, like adding on additional staff?
I don't know.
Okay.
One of the big unknown is opening SCI Phoenix and what issues we're going to have around that. I don't anticipate certainly going over. We're anticipating being pretty flat, but
okay, so you're anticipating that the whole cost increase that we're having is going to be because of personnel cost and general increase, inflationary increases, let's say, contractual increases. So how did we get the $100 million savings?
Last year,
yeah.
Well, closing Pittsburgh was $80 million.
Okay.
And then we did food service with the Aramark contract we talked about was a was a save. We projected at $8 million. It's going to land at about $5 million the first year. There was a couple other initiatives I can't think of.
Just real quickly, because I am out of time, the closing of Pittsburgh, we didn't lose any complement of employees, so it was the $80 million savings was solely on operations.
That and an offset on overtime. When we filled vacant positions, it reduced overtime quickly. We didn't have to wait that 35-week lag from new employees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.